percussion section of the school band consists primarily of the snare drum and the xylophone. We don't play the full drum kit that you would see in a rock band. That's not something that we normally use in school, although sometimes in the middle school we might incorporate that. Certainly in high school, students will have the opportunity to perform in a jazz band, and maybe even a concert band selection would use that full drum kit. In the beginning band, in the school band here, we stick mostly with the snare drum and the xylophone. I will bring in some cymbals to crash. I will bring in a few other odds and ends, a few other percussion instruments, but these are the main two that we learn the technique on. With the snare drum, of course, it's quite loud. There's a couple ways to cope with that issue. Let me play it for you without muting it at all. Full volume, gently. And that's not even striking it very hard. So of course you're certainly aware that the drum is going to be a loud instrument at home. Now, to mute the drum, they make these pads, soft rubber pad. Considerably softer. Still a bit of a racket, but doable in a small apartment or townhouse with close neighbors. Another option on the snare drum, what causes the rattle is underneath. This is called the snare. That's the part of the drum. It's actually a group of wires under there. When you strike the drum, they vibrate sympathetically. We can loosen those up with the switch on the side so they don't rattle, and it becomes, that's what we call a field drum sound. That's a little softer with the pad on top, much softer. So you might consider that. There's also what we call a practice pad. Now this can just sit on a tabletop, any flat surface. Many of them can screw into another drum stand or holder that will hold it up in front of you. This again, much quieter than a regular drum, but it has the same feel, it has the same response. You can't just hit a tabletop or a book or something like that. The sticks won't bounce the same way. That's a very important part of playing the drums, is to have the proper feel and the proper stroke and technique. And you really need to be hitting either a real drum or a practice pad. Now they do make electronic drums that you can plug your headphones into, and you may have a whole electronic drum kit at home, and the snare drum on that, an electronic snare, again, will have the same sound and feel as a practice pad will, with the added benefit of headphones to hear yourself play or to play along with your favorite music. The other instrument, of course, is the xylophone. If your child plays piano, this is going to be very familiar to them. Think of these as the white keys and these as the black keys. There's 3, 2, 3, 2, 3 black keys. I know there's 2 here, but there would be a third if it were longer. These are the white keys. They're arranged in the same way as the piano is. The larger keys play the lower sounding notes. As you work your way up, they get higher and higher. One of the fun things that kids like to do on the xylophone, boy, they never get tired of doing that, do they? So students will learn both, and on both the snare drum and the xylophone, you do have to learn to read written music. A lot of times percussionists think, oh, I don't need to read notes, I can just listen and play to the beat. And that certainly is an essential skill to have, to be able to play by ear on any instrument. Certainly the drums need to be able to do that. But they will read music. We have written down music notation for the percussion that they will learn to read as well. So that's choosing the drums is not an easy way out to get out of learning music if they're afraid to do that. So again, these are the snare drum and its alternative, and the xylophone, which both instruments would be played in the school together.